I read a lot about and from the trials of Nuremberg when I was 16 or 17 years old. People in the generation of my parents all, of course, remember because they lived through the Nuremberg trials. But if you've only heard of them, survivors of the concentration camps gave testimony about what they endured while the Nazi bureaucrats in charge of the Third Reich petitioned. They didn't have cell phones. They couldn't call their British friends like King Edward VIII, but they made petitions for leniency, and a lot of them received it from the British High Council and American intelligence, who wanted to recruit as many of them as possible. At first, it looked like it was going to be a more difficult task to get away, but some justices got shuffled around and it became something of a show trial. But the actual material of the witnesses was truly astonishing. Many people have asked what would they say in America if the shoe was on the other foot. We know from Municipal in Seattle what they would say. We know from gangs like Sound Mental Health and UW Dialectical not so much what they would say, what they do say. Because, of course, I had warned them for years and years and years that my investigation proved beyond the shadow of a doubt that AIDS was organized in an attack. And they just went along with it to the point of poisoning me as an advertisement for Exxon 19, which you call COVID 19. And now they say, well, in Doris Day versus Brouhaha in New Orleans, um, student asked for help while from in a locked room in Uvalde. And cite, in other words, I don't know law, but they cite case precedents for wiggling out of responsibility. He was a patient and observed talking to himself. It's sort of it's a trick. In other words, to make it look like they don't have any remorse because of the bureaucratic machinery that governs them. It's the old Nuremberg song and dance. So, but they do have a big trump to play. They always croak with the sadist and evil Yoko Ono, who was ripping off museum books with John Schulman and lying about me and was behind the mouth, poison, the ripper murder of Shannon Harps. And her guru that puts on the ash on the conscience is the sacred penny of John Lennon, she says. All must kowtow before. And the gays were betraying their own, right and left. They threw our grandmothers off the World Trade Center with the COVID Exxon 19. And don't expect them to read. They're still snashing and faux-culting and bleeping with Yoko Ono. And who should protect her but Joe Biden? Even after killing Cersei Kennedy and delivering my letter with the murder of two Kennedys, Biden is ramrod behind Gwiener, Yoko Ono, the Jeffin Corporation, because they promoted Obama. And that was the strategy of the ARC to get the NAACP on board. We'll promote one of you guys. And they said, oh. So And Putin, of course, I mean, this goes back to Gorbachev's symbolic stigma. He resembles my father. It was not the walrus skull during age, with Reagan. So, really, it makes you sick. But, Putin had authorized Valievas Pussy Bowl right in Beijing. She took forth would tip me off to the Ouspensky's role. Eno had been talking to Putin. It was Eno and Oliver Stone who promoted the Pussy Bowl ride in Beijing. If anybody followed the whole thing, you saw the stuff about meeting secretly with the manager who did something special with her. They were selling a secret happening couch casting career rescue move so she could perform storyline at the debate. People don't talk about it, but anybody with any sense detected it. What Oliver Stone, Putin, and Aino was trying to sell. And they promoted Yoko Gwinner symbolically to the third World War victory position of the silver medal, bronze medal. The Japanese woman in third place, which was their laugh over the Pussy Bowl. Third, two virgins war game that was clocked by UW Dialectical to the AIDS attack. So the municipal they just lie through teeth. You can see this is their lie through the teeth, the black mark, the gum disease that they get when they poison me. That's them lying through the teeth. They say that I'm the puppet and they put words in my mouth. Guess what that means? Exactly what they say. So their lies are all dressed up in the Crow-Cag or Gusta Garanor's lies. And municipal, authorizes. I mean, the FBI, the people who started AIDS have been a client of the Federal Bureau of Investigation from the time it happened. And the Crow-Cag Gusta Garanor falls back on the lie. I mean, it's plenty big lie. I mean, I've proved it this plenty over and over again. That Lennon really died. He pulled a Houdini. The whole show is supposed to implode on that claim. Instead of you saying, wait a minute, why did you ignore this evidence that AIDS was an attack even after the same people released COVID? Oh, because none of Croker didn't know. That's what they would have said at Nuremberg if it was the municipal of Seattle.